Evan Kenny and Eric Bay take a look at the latest news from the hockey world with the NHL award finalists.
Yesterday, Eric Bay joined myself to discuss some of the NHL award finalists. Today, he's joining me once again to break down a couple more. Eric, how's it going?
Hey, very good. Long time no see, but tons more awards to get to. So excited to get to it.
For sure. And we'll just jump right into things, kicking things off with the Vesna trophy for top goaltender. Now, the finalists for this were Tuukka Rask, Andrei Vasilevskiy, and Connor Hellebuyck. Eric, what are your thoughts? Who do you think should be the winner?
Yeah, I think obviously some very worthy choices and a few guys that we've definitely heard in the conversation before in Vasilevskiy there and Tuukka Rask. But for me, I know obviously you can make the argument about what's in front of him, but I think Tuukka Rask has done enough to distance himself from the other guys. And look, obviously he does have a great team. They've completely ran away with the NHL so far, about 10 points ahead of the next best team. So a great season nonetheless. But again, when you're looking at that, I do think the goaltending is a big part of it. Obviously, he may not be seeing some of those more high-risk chances as some of the other goalies, but he's still done his part with a .929 save percentage and a .212 goals against average, which is quite a bit higher than some of those other guys. Over 10 points, I would say, there on the save percentage side of things. So I think if you just look at the stats, he also only has 8 regulation losses. That is less than double digits. So very impressive season. And for me, I think Tuukka Rask has done more than enough, and he's kind of one of those bigger reasons as to why the Bruins are so far ahead, especially in a division where you are facing teams like the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Toronto Maple Leafs.
For myself, Tuukka Rask, obviously unbelievable season. You just mentioned all the numbers, and I mean, the one that sticks out to me is that loss number, how low it is. And I mean, you don't see that very often. But for me, my Vesna winner is Connor Hellebuyck. He was second in save percentage, but he faced the most shots and made the most saves out of those 3 goalies. And actually, out of the entire league, he had the most saves. Plus, I believe he was playing behind the worst team out of the 3 of those goalies. I mean, you look at Boston and Tampa, they're 2 of the powerhouses in the league versus Winnipeg, who, you know, their D-core just got blown up this past summer. And for Hellebuyck to still hold his team in there and give them a fighting chance, I think was something amazing. A team that got blown up as well this summer was the Columbus Blue Jackets. They also have their coach, John Tortorella, up for the Jack Adams Award. That is for the top coaches. Joining him is Alain Vigneault and Bruce Cassidy from the Boston Bruins. Eric, I know what my pick is, and I believe you have the same one, but why don't you just tell us your pick for this award?
Yeah, and obviously for me, this one too is maybe a little bit closer between 2 of the candidates. And you look at Alain Vigneault, and I really do believe that the Philadelphia Flyers were the hottest team in the NHL before the season got shut down. You look at what they've done in past years, kind of underachieved, and Vigneault has come in and done an amazing job getting them where they're really supposed to be, and it's been very impressive. But for me, you mentioned the team got absolutely blown up, the Columbus Blue Jackets, this past year. You lose guys like Artemi Panarin, Sergei Bobrovsky, Matt Duchene, even Ryan Zingle. And you just look again at those big names and how that's pretty much 3 bona fide stars and another solid contributor there. That would totally decimate a team, and it really did. But you look at the job that Tortorella has done, losing, you know, a guy who's up for the Ted Lindsay Award conversation, a guy who's won 2 Vesnas, and what he's done to put the Blue Jackets in what would have been the second wildcard spot in the East at the end of the actual season. You can't compare that to anything else that anybody has done in this entire league this season. So for me, Tortorella is the runaway winner for this season.
And I 100% agree with you, Eric. Even just seeing, you know, games lost to injury and the amount of injuries that he had for his defense corps was just insane. He was playing with half an American League roster, and especially at the beginning of the season, I can say personally, I thought they were going to be one of the bottom teams. I thought they, you know, potentially were in the run for Lafreniere. So looking at them from then till now is just absolutely insane. I also give the award to Tortorella. Now, our final award we're going to be chatting about is the Selkie for Best Defensive Forward. Now up for the award, Ryan O'Reilly, who won it last season, Patrice Bergeron, who's up for his 9th time, and the young gun between the 3 of these, Sean Couturier. Eric, this is a tough one to really decide. You know, there's a lot of non-statistical aspects that come into play for the Selkie. But why don't you give us your pick?
Yeah, I mean, again, you mentioned it's kind of hard to quantify it, and you have to really put it to the eye test. You look at these three guys, and particularly a guy like Sean Couturier, who, when he was drafted, had the potential to be number one, slid to 8, and has really developed himself into that bona fide defensive center, one of those top tier guys, very deserving as well. Ryan O'Reilly, obviously, we saw what he's done for St. Louis, particularly last season. But for me, I think, again, you look at a guy like Patrice Bergeron, you mentioned it, 9 seasons he's been nominated. He's close to tying the record with Bob Gainey for the most Selkie trophies. And I think this is the year that he does it. The guy's been a rock this entire time, and he's almost gotten younger with age here as you look at what he's done with Marchand and Pasternak, and just, again, that ability to be that defensive piece as well by putting up all those points at the same time. So for me, again, as a guy who's a big fan, growing up watching him, I really would like to see Patrice Bergeron win. But again, you look at this award, could go to either one. I'm not going to be upset either way.
Yeah, between the 3 finalists here, I think this might be the toughest award to really decide who is the one out of those 3. Personally, I chose Couturier mainly because I feel like he's one of the most underrated players in the league. And I'd like to see him get the recognition that, he kind of deserves. Out of the 3, he actually had the highest face-off win percentage, which is very surprising when you think of Bergeron and O'Reilly. And as well, he led the 3 in hits and a couple other aspects as well. Eric, it's always a pleasure getting to chat with hockey with you. Thanks for joining me.
No problem. Thanks for having me. Great conversation, and glad to do it.